You're thinking about retirement life in Oregon and maybe even wondering, what is Oregon's best retirement town? Well, you're in the right place because we're going to talk all about retiring in Southern Oregon with a focus on the areas around Medford, Oregon that are just flat out better than the rest of the state for retirement. And that's a big claim. So let me explain why that is. Hey, I'm Brian Simmons. I'm a 30-plus year resident and real estate agent here in Southern Oregon. And while I may not be of the retirement age yet, I do happen to help a lot of folks who are to buy, sell, and invest in the Southern Oregon real estate market. So if that's something that I can help you with, you can reach out to me directly at 541-954-7758 with a call or text, or there's a link in the description of this video that you can click on and schedule a time for us to meet online face-to-face. Okay, so why in the world would I say that Southern Oregon is better for retirement than the rest of the state? We're going to review plenty of specifics like weather and cost of living and activities, but what makes the Medford, Oregon area Oregon's best retirement town is simply the fact that it falls right in the sweet spot of every category that we're going to explore. Let me explain. So I did a bunch of research online and I found data to compare Medford with Portland, Eugene, and Bend, Oregon. And I think those are the best examples of places to compare to. And you may be wondering about places like Salem, Oregon, or Corvallis, Oregon, or some of the others, but those are the main ones that we're going to look at today, because places like Salem get lumped in with Portland when you're looking at the data, and places like Corvallis, for example, gets lumped in with Eugene when you're looking at the data. So we're going to try to focus on those main hubs that are very different: Medford versus Bend versus Eugene versus Portland. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the data and I'll show you what it says. Okay, if we start out by looking at just the overall cost of living index, and this information is coming from bestplaces.net, and they do a very comprehensive job of analyzing the data in these various markets. And so what you're looking at here is the cost of living of the major areas that we discussed, which is Medford, which comes in at a 102.3. And what that number is the number relative to the national average. So you can see Medford is slightly above the national average at 102.3, whereas the national average would be 100. Okay, so we're just slightly above that, but as you can tell, we're significantly below Portland, which is 132.4. You can see Eugene is 107.3 and Bend is 131.3. So Medford is significantly less expensive as a cost of living measurement that you can see here. So definitely the least expensive of all these four cities, as said by bestplaces.net cost of living index. And we're going to dig into that a little bit more specifically and look at the median home price. Okay, and again, as you can see, Medford comes in, according to the same source, at $376,700 for the median home price, and this may be as of 2022, I think, is what their data had said. So either way, it's all relevant because we're looking at it as a comparison to the others. Okay, so Medford 376, Portland 537,200, Eugene 458,500, and then Bend over $666,000 for the median home price. So certainly some beautiful homes in Bend, but really, what you're seeing there is that a nice 3-bed, 2-bath home in Bend is just significantly more expensive than it is in Medford, and that's not even necessarily for a better quality home. It's just that things are just in that much demand up there and just that much more expensive. So again, Medford coming in as the least expensive for median home price. And then carrying on to food and groceries, it's pretty much a wash across the board here. You can see Medford 100.5, and the most expensive is Portland at 103.7. So really not a significant difference there. Nothing to write home about. I don't think anyone's going to make a decision on where to retire based on a insignificant difference in food and grocery costs like you see there. So let's call that one a wash. Transportation costs though, wow. Medford comes in way below the national average at an 80.3. Portland comes in way above the national average at 129.9. And Eugene and Bend are both in kind of the, Eugene in the upper 80s, Bend in the lower 80s, but all of them, again, more than Medford, Oregon. So transportation, Medford's the clear winner on that one again. And then we go in and look at the weather, okay? And so this is looking at rainfall. And this is a big misconception of Southern Oregon and the Medford Grants Pass area, is that people think that it's like the other parts of Oregon, and it's just not. You can see here we average 23 inches of rainfall a year, which is almost half that of Portland, and less than half of that of Eugene. So we're significantly less in terms of rainfall of both of those, but more than Bend. Okay, so Bend, Oregon does not get a lot of rain. It's in the east of the Cascades, which is in the high desert climate, so it's much more arid, much less rain over there. But with that comes a lot of other things like just the dryness and the all the different plants and stuff that grow over there. It's much different. So trying to garden over there versus over here, it's a lot different experience. So I think Medford's kind of right in that sweet spot there. 23 inches of rain is on par with like areas like Sacramento, California, and stuff like that. So we're much more like Sacramento, California in terms of rainfall than we are Portland and Eugene, which is what a lot of people think of when they think Oregon. They think rain, and that's what you're going to get in Portland and Eugene. I lived in Eugene for 4 years, and so I know this 47 inches of annual rainfall. I know it well, and it's kind of miserable in my opinion. But looking at snowfall, so you saw that Bend had the least amount of rainfall, but it actually averages 21 inches of snowfall per year, as compared to Medford, Portland, and Eugene all average about 3. So again, you hop over to the east side of the Cascades and it snows. I mean, it snows a lot. 21 inches of snow is a pretty good amount. So if you're thinking about retiring in Oregon, if you want to spend your days shoveling snow, Bend's a great place to do it. If you want to spend your days not doing that and outside doing fun activities that I'm going to tell you more about here in a few seconds, Medford is going to give you a lot more time to do that because you're not going to be trying to shovel your way out of your driveway during the winter months. But looking at sunny days, this is another one. This actually kind of surprised me. Not that Medford had 195 sunny days a year, but the fact that Medford was above Bend, because I know Bend is known for being very sunny. Like we talked about, it doesn't have a lot of rainfall that you noticed on the last chart we showed a couple charts ago. Not a lot of rainfall over in Bend, so I expected to see them have a higher number of sunny days. And anyways, this data is again from bestplaces.net, so this is their number. I'm just sharing it with you, but they came in at 162, and then Eugene 155, Portland 144, Medford 195. So again, we're much sunnier, more sunny days than Portland and Eugene. And I this 162 on Bend is a little surprising to me. So I'll tell you though, I think Bend is sunnier than that, on par probably with Medford. But anyways, that's maybe something you want to research a little bit more, but this is the number that the bestplaces.net website showed. So then if we look at the high temps, and this is where Medford steps kind of apart a little bit from the other areas, is that Medford is hotter. Okay, so the high temperature average in July is 90 degrees. And then in Portland and Eugene, it's in the low 80s, and in Bend in the low 80s as well. So definitely a little bit warmer here, but not unbearable. Okay, the average high is 90, and so that's it's not like you're in Phoenix, Arizona, or Las Vegas, or even in Northern California areas like Redding, where it gets very hot. We don't get quite to those levels here. We'll have some few days out of the year where we're breaking 100, but it's not every day like it is in some of those other cities. So very tolerable and manageable here at 90 for the average July high temperature. And then if we conversely kind of look at the opposite end of the spectrum and look at the low for January, the average low temp, and so this isn't the average temp throughout the day, this is the average low in January. In Medford is 31, Portland 36, Eugene 34, and Bend 24. And so what the context I like to provide here is that 31 being the low, that's only for like a couple hours super early in the morning, and then it tends to heat up pretty good. And so I think the average, the high in those times of year, if I remember right, when I looked last time in another one of my videos, I believe it was in the 50s, in the low 50s. So anyways, you do get warmed up enough to be able to go outside and enjoy some different activities and stuff. And again, we'll explain some of those, what the options are here in Southern Oregon for all those activities. But just know that like the weather year round is very manageable and doesn't force you to be indoors. Whereas in Bend, you're going to be dealing with temperatures in the 20s, and like I said, the 20 degree or 20 plus inches of snow. And Portland and Eugene, you're going to have all that rainfall. So this is kind of showing you why I believe this is really in the sweet spot, like I mentioned. And those are the charts that I want to share with you. So hopefully that provides you with some good context as to what I meant by it being the Medford area being in that sweet spot. The cost of living is better, the climate is more desirable to a lot of people, much less rainfall than Portland and Eugene, less snow than Bend, but a little bit more heat in the summer. So yeah, that's up to you to decide if that's a trade-off you want to have, but a lot of people are deciding to do that. And so I mentioned the outdoor activities, and that's one of the nice things about this area is there's just so many options for things to do outdoors when you're retired, or even indoors. And we're going to talk about a lot of those, but the outdoor activities really steal the show because there's just so many things to do and places to go for an easy hike or bike or kayaking or paddleboarding and so much more. So a couple of my favorites for those types of things would be like paddleboarding or kayaking on Immigrant Lake or Applegate Lake. Or hiking the trail around Roxanne Mountain, or the Jacksonville trails over there around the Brick Gardens, or even just a stroll through the town of Jacksonville is really, really special. There's great skiing at Mount Ashland and camping and backpacking all through the different national forests and stuff around here, which if you're more of an outdoorsman and you're into that type of stuff, fishing on the famous Rogue River for salmon or steelhead is absolutely legendary. You can fly fish or go get a guide and float the drift boat, or you can go fish the local lakes for bass or trout, or all sorts of different types of fishing. So a lot of options there, and hunting too, deer, elk, turkey, and all sorts of different birds there. And I can promise, if you're into those types of things, you will never run out of options for places to go do that and fun things to go do in those regards. But maybe you're not into the outdoor stuff and you're more interested in the arts. And if that's the case, great. There are so many options for those types of things around here in Southern Oregon, like the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, which is unbelievable. There's tons of different types of plays that they do there, and it's an absolutely incredible Elizabethan theater that is amazing. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, you have got to check out the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. The Criterion Theater in Medford is fantastic as well, and the Brit Festival in Jacksonville, if you're interested in live music, is wonderful. And if those things don't take up all your time, then you got to check out all the countless art galleries around Southern Oregon. You can spend a lifetime just going from gallery to gallery in Jacksonville and Ashland and Medford and all these different places and just exploring the different works of the local artists. Since this is a video about retirement living in Southern Oregon, I would be remiss to not mention golfing, okay? And what better way to enjoy all of those sunny days that we experience here in Southern Oregon than playing around a golf on one of the beautiful golf courses we have here in the Medford, Oregon area. Like Centennial Golf Club in Medford is unbelievable. It's one of my favorites because it has nice, big, wide fairways, and it's really a very well-kept, beautiful course. As is Eagle Point Golf Club. It's a very nice course. The Rogue Valley Country Club is incredible too. So any one of those really a fantastic option to go out and play some golf. And if you're looking for a home or a golf community where you can have your house on the golf course, Eagle Point Golf Club and the Rogue Valley Country Club are going to be probably your two best options there. There's a couple others that you might be able to take a look at, but those are really the two main ones. And so Eagle Point Golf Club, Rogue Valley Country Club are both great options for if you're wanting to go into the golf community living type of a situation. Another great option that gets you outdoors but not really into the active stuff is wine tasting, okay? And there are so many local vineyards here that have amazing clubs that you can join and participate in the different exclusive events and the dinners and the parties that they have. It's really a ton of fun, and there's a countless amount of just stunning properties, vineyard properties that you would never ever get tired of looking at and exploring, like Hummingbird, Irvine and Roberts, Cressell Cellars, Del Rio, Red Lily, Roxanne, Schmidt Family Vineyards. I could go on and on forever, but some of those are just unbelievably beautiful. You can sit out on their big deck and just soak in the views of the area, drinking a nice glass of wine and having some snacks and appetizers. It's just such a fun experience, and that's something that is a favorite thing for a lot of the locals around here, is just to go out to their favorite vineyard and hang out for a few hours and enjoy those sights and sounds and just relax on a weekend. It's really a fun thing to do, and I couldn't think of a better way to spend some days in retirement life by doing that. But maybe you're more of an explorer and you want to get out there and see the different sites and everything of the region. And if that's the case, the Medford area is a wonderful spot to launch from to get to a lot of the different sites that you're going to want to see, like Crater Lake National Park, the Oregon Coast, the Oregon Caves National Monument, Rogue-Siskiyou National Forest, and there are just so many other countless areas like that that you've got to see if you are into taking pictures and photography and those sorts of things, or painting nature and stuff like that. There's so many options for places like that where you can go for a day to explore, or even go overnight if you're into camping and you have an RV or tent or whatever you want to do. There's a lot of those different areas like that that are just a lot of fun to go explore, and they're absolutely beautiful. That's one of the great things about this area, is we're surrounded by mountains. To the east we have the Cascade Range, to the west we have the Coastal Range, and to the south we have the Siskiyous. And so there's a lot of mountains around here, and that creates a lot of opportunity to do these wonderful activities and just get out there and explore and be in nature. It's really, really one of my favorite things. As you can see, there is no shortage of things to do in Southern Oregon, no matter what kind of lifestyle you live. So I'm going to share a few other fun facts with you that I know are important for you to know. So the availability of good medical care is the next thing that I want to address. And so there are 4 hospitals in Southern Oregon, and 3 of those are part of the Asante Hospital System, which has been rated in the top 15 in the nation for the last 10 years, okay? And there are also loads of other really, really talented specialists at places like Southern Oregon Orthopedics and the Medical Eye Center of Southern Oregon. So with all these great talented specialists and great medical care that we have here locally, it's pretty uncommon to have to go see a specialist in another area. But in the event that that does happen, which it does, of course, from time to time, Portland, there's OHSU, which is Oregon Health and Sciences University. It's only about a 4-hour drive away, or an hour flight. So that is there, and that's an option if necessary. But from what I understand of my own experiences, and with all of my clients and my friends and my family and all that, the need to have to go out of the Southern Oregon area is pretty uncommon. And that brings me to my next point, which is the location of Medford, Oregon is just so convenient, okay? Interstate 5 runs right through it, which is the main interstate that runs north-south from Mexico to Canada. And there's other major highways that run through here, like Highway 199 that runs towards the Oregon coast, where you can then take the popular 101 up or down the Pacific coast, again all the way down into California, all the way up into Washington, or you can travel east on Highway 140 to go see the beautiful high desert like we talked about in the Bend area, or Klamath Falls, going over to Burns, or even further over to Idaho if you wanted to, traveling all over to the east through the high desert. So that's really pretty. A lot of fun stuff to do over there as well. And that's one of the things that I really like about having these highways and the interstate here, is that it just makes so many of these destinations very accessible, okay, with a quick getaway. And you could be over in Bend or the coast or whatever, and that's all not very difficult to do, just a few hours either way, okay? But if you want something a little further away, the Rogue Valley International Airport has direct flights to several major hubs like Seattle and Portland and San Francisco and LA and Salt Lake City and Denver and Phoenix and Vegas, and I'm probably forgetting some, but you can get to a lot of places with a direct flight, and you can get almost anywhere on Earth with a single layover. So it's pretty cool to have that nice little hub here. It's a nice newer airport. It was built, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, something like that. And really a nice, easy, accessible airport. You don't have to get there 2 hours ahead of time. You can literally, if you're carrying on your luggage, you can literally walk in, 45 minutes beforehand, go right through and be fine. I've done it plenty of times. So speaking of getting around, it's really easy to actually get around in Southern Oregon, okay? The size is small enough to where traffic really isn't an issue. It's nice and easy to get from point A to point B with all those interstates and highways. So no matter if you're going from, the east side of town to the west side, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. If you're going from somewhere like Ashland to Medford, or Medford to Grants Pass, or any of those, that's all very, very easy to do. Okay, I'm sure you're probably thinking right now that this is all so amazing, but what kind of home can I get for my money? That's a very common question that comes up, especially with people who are not from the area. So of course that's going to depend on your budget. But if you're looking for, let's say, a 3-bed, 2-bath, single level home with a low maintenance yard, close to the shopping and medical and all that, you can find that type of home, a nice well-kept home like that under $500,000. Okay, and like anywhere, the sky's the limit. You can find nice homes that meet your needs in the 300s, or you can find beautiful riverfront estates for millions of dollars. Okay, and really everything in between. And that's one of the great things about this area, is there's such a variety of the types of homes, the types of living that you can do here. If you want a half an acre outside of town where you can have a little garden, great, that exists. If you want a big 100-acre plus property with privacy and no neighbors in sight, great, that also exists. So does a small 1920s cottage. So does all the different things you could ever imagine exist here. So lots of great options on the housing side of things. And if you have questions about that, again, I'm more than happy to answer them if you reach out. So now I hope it's a little more clear to you why I believe Medford, Oregon is Oregon's best retirement town. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's just right in so many ways, and that's what makes it such a wonderful place to live. So if you're considering living the retirement life in Oregon, I hope you won't hesitate to reach out with any questions. You can leave a comment in the comment section down below, or reach out to me directly with a call or a text to 541-954-7758. There's also a link in the description of this video if you'd like to set up a time for us to meet face to face. I'd be more than happy to do that. So I'd love to hear from you and answer any questions that you have about the specifics of living in Southern Oregon or the different things to do in Southern Oregon. Again, I'm Brian Simmons with eXp Realty, and I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, spend some time browsing some videos, and especially the playlist Living in Southern Oregon is what it's called. You'll find tons of great videos there about the different parts of Southern Oregon, and especially towns like Ashland, Oregon, and Grants Pass, and Rogue River. I've done videos on all those, and I'm creating videos every week about different towns. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, click the bell icon so that you're alerted when those next videos come out. And I thank you for watching, and I can't wait to hear from you. Have a great one.